Oklahoma State was able to keep the sack-happy Wildcat attack in check. So if it was good enough against number 2, is it going to be good enough for number 1 KU2?
You are Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma State Cowboys, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, y'all, and hello, all. Welcome back to Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily stop for all things Cowboy and Cowgirl related. My name is Kody Stovall. I want to thank you kindly for stopping by to make this your first listen here on Locked On Oklahoma State. You know we're available on every single podcasting platform, visually as well on YouTube. Find me on Twitter at AllDayOakState. Today, we're partially brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. The first thing that we need to purchase in this game is more stability up front. Again, we talked about yesterday a little bit. If you go back and you look at some of the grading scale stuff, there's nobody that will really grade down in the C level. Everybody's kind of in the B level. Offensive line is no different. It looks like we finally found some stability with Cole Birmingham going back to what feels like a more natural position. And amazingly, Dalton Cooper, he's so much more comfortable at left tackle than right tackle. It's crazy how that differentiation there materializes on the field. But it is what it is. So we don't rotate a lot of the line, nor have we, but it seems as though we found the right combination to keep the number 2 sack-happy defense in check this previous Friday against Kansas State. Question is, can we do it against number 1 KU? That's right. Kansas State Wildcats and the Kansas Jayhawks were 1 and 2 in the conference in the sack department. The defense still has limitations there in Lawrence. And as they make this trip to Stillwater, there's still some areas of exploitation, much like Kansas State. And I think it's definitely going to be in the secondary. That's not to say some of the guys like Kobe Bryant aren't people to mess with. And Mello Dotson on the other side is actually pretty daggone good as well. But there are still some holes. And you see that when you go back and look at the UCF game, Illinois even, you could kind of see some different things that popped open. Texas, of course, not to say that we're Texas offensively, because we're not, right? But are we on the same plane as UCF? Probably. UCF had decent amount of success running the football. We were able to keep Alan Bowman off his backside, even when he was backing up so daggone far. It was maddening. And I think you could say that led to a lot of the success, especially in the first half. In the second half, there's a difference. Whatever the play sheet was, play calling, the differentiation between the first half and the second half is pretty big, right? We can all see that. But regardless, we were able to do enough. We should win the kicking battle once again, which we'll talk about at the end. But the question between segment 1 and segment 3 for you to ask yourself is kicking 6 field goals, making 5 of them, going to be enough to beat KU? But what we do know is going to be enough is if the offensive line is able to hold up this well once again, because defensively, it's not quite the same, right? If you want to throw some of the highlighted colored jerseys on some guys, it's going to be the guys like, obviously, Kobe Bryant. The dude is that good. And then, guys, Kenny Logan Jr. would start anywhere in the country. His speed is probably something that gets overlooked, right? Because he was that Calvin Bunnage, that Kendall Daniels that always showed up and popped up on film and made some crazy stuff happen and made some crazy plays. And now he's matured into not only that crazy guy, but he's also in the right place at the right time. Now he's able to bait quarterbacks into doing what he wants them to do by manipulating his eyes and his hips in conjunction with what the quarterback's looking at. But aside from those guys, like they have some deficiencies in the back end that we're going to be able to take advantage of. And again, so if our offensive line can control their D-line, that is another recipe for success here. Because top 5 in the conference in sacks is Jareem Robinson. So if you find a way to contain him, you're going to be okay. DJ Withers is a phenomenal talent that they have at the defensive tackle position. I'm not super sold on Devin Phillips, but I understand that he does play a pivotal role from the nose tackle position and what they're trying to do. Rich Miller, he's not bad. JB Brown, not bad. But, I mean, nothing great. Ohio State transfer Craig Young, I think, is somebody who's starting to come on. They have a lot of faith in Cornell Wheeler, another big-time Division I transfer. We already mentioned Mello Dotson's good. Kenny Logan's an NFL dude. Behind them, I think maybe you have some questions when they get Kalon Jervin in the game, and that's Kobe Bryant's technically backup at corner. He seems to get burnt quite a bit by the UCF wide receivers. Illinois even had some success in getting some gaps opened up in the defense. So they have some guys. But if you can contain the D-line, and then you can make it to where you isolate some of those guys, Kobe Bryant can't beat you by himself. Kenny Logan can't beat you by himself. Them two together, as good as they are, they can't beat you by themselves. So when you want to talk about offense, which we'll do a little bit later on, tomorrow and in the week, offensively, different story. You can go up and down and look at the roster and see a mixture of not only transfers, but guys that they've kind of built from within over the last couple of years. So when you merge all of these guys together, as a team, they average 4.4 years roster-wise. So they've got a bunch of dudes that have been here from the Les Miles recruiting era that stuck around, that were part of the transitional period, that bought into what Lance Leipold was doing. And then they decided not to transfer, and now they've kind of morphed this thing together. Kenny Logan and Kobe Bryant being two of those. And then you mix in somebody like the Ohio State transfer, Craig Young, and some of the other guys that they have that are going to be able to fill some roles, right? And if you find a way to eliminate some of those guys, you're going to be fine. Like Austin Booker and Gage Keys, both big dudes that transferred from Minnesota, right? Come together, kind of a package deal, along with one of their running backs that also come from Minnesota. And it's 6'6", 250, and 6'5", 290, respectively. These are guys that you got to pay attention to. We already mentioned DJ Withers, 6'4", 310, right? A Colin Clay style of guy that we should be able to isolate and get to. But, I think Mello Dotson's got some things that we can exploit. And guys, Kobe Bryant, as good as he is, he's not TJ Tampa, right? He's not going to be running around at over 200 pounds while still running a 4.4, 4.5 40. He's phenomenal, but he's not quite that, right? So high point, we're going to have some ability there. The Michigan State transfer I just mentioned, Kalon Gervin, he's good, but he's not a world beater. He's not somebody that some of our guys one-on-one, Brennan Presley, or even Rashad Owens cannot beat one-on-one. Guys, Talon Shetron can beat some of these dudes one-on-one. So again, if you can isolate some of these guys, then we've got something cooking here. Again, Cornell Wheeler, the Michigan transfer, he looks good, but he's got some holes. Rich Miller, they believe in him, right? The 6'1", 230-pound senior from Buffalo. He's good, but they've got some holes. This is an area of exploitation that I expect us to take hold with. I mean, the last time we let some Okies come into town that had something to play for, it didn't work so well. And they've got linebacker Krishan Brown from Booker T. Washington, Tulsa area, Donovan Gaines, Southmore, Oklahoma City area. Their wide receiver Skinner he's frustratingly good. And then you even get more irritated when you take into consideration he's from Claremore, Oklahoma, and at 6'5", 200 pounds, like how'd he get out? What they have offensively is a problem. It's a problem for everybody. It's going to be a problem for us. But luckily, they've got some gaps defensively that we could exploit. If the offensive line does what they were able to do, then this is a massive opportunity. If we can contain their guys from getting in the backfield and eating and feeding off of sacks, like we did KState, this is another recipe where this magical methodology to get to W is more realistic. So, yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing that can help us win the game. And if we beat KU, the schedule gets much more favorable as we go on because we're getting to this Big 12 slate, right? This time where injuries and everything do pile up. It's a daily concern for everybody in the country. And the D-line's got to answer the bell as well, which we're about to get to. But real quick, when it comes to answering the bell, ladies and gentlemen, today we're proud to announce that we've got a sponsor in Prize Picks that alleviates some of your typical betting type of concerns because with Prize Picks, you get to do it every single day, and you get to pick multiple dudes from multiple sports, multiple teams, multiple levels. It doesn't matter. And you take these kind of multiple stat projections for these guys, and then you pick one in each individual category. And unlike your traditional, when you bet on a certain amount of things betting, you win without all of them winning. So you can still win money regardless. It's absolutely amazing. If you want to get in on the daily game, they've got crazy ways where you can maximize your dollar bills, and they can test your skills. Test your skills and your dollar bills this season with Prize Picks. It's super simple to play. You make picks and you submit them in less than like 60 seconds. They got super quick withdrawals, easy gameplay. And right now, Prize Picks has a reboot policy where your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets hurt. So for NFL games and college football games, top 25 matchups, if your player exits the game early in the first half and doesn't return in the second half, the player gets rebooted. Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with this kind of injury insurance type of deal. So you take different players, different levels, different sports. You can be soccer, football, baseball, whatever. And you just pick the over or the under on what that guy's going to be able to do. And bada boom, bada bing, bada bang. You're in it to win it. Go to prizepicks.com/lockedoncollege. Use that code, lockedoncollege, all one word, for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, with the promo code lockedoncollege, all one word, we're going to match the deposit up to $100. Use the promo code. It's a highly encouraged voice that you can have in daily fantasy, and it's made easy for you. All righty, y'all. Oh, you also got to mention, I mean, we're in this realm here, okay? We're talking about capitalization of dollar bills. Get yourself ready for this KU game with Game Time tickets. It doesn't have to go through all the stressful processing in your household of trying to plan a bunch of crap in advance. You don't need to do that anymore. Game Time is a fast and easy way for you to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, theater, and events near you. We got killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from the seat, from the angles you're going to see the game from, best price guaranteed. Game Time takes the guesswork out of you buying tickets. Guys, right now, if you want to get your hands on this Rock Chalk Jayhawk W in Stillwater, Oklahoma, if you just want to have fun with really good seats up in the West End Zone Bowl section, $24 right here, right now. Or if you're feeling a little bit more bougie, okay, you can go on the 30-yard line and be right up next to the action and be watching everything develop for less than a couple $100. Or if you want to stir the pot, you can go on the other side of the field right there in very, very front, literally right behind the KU bench, so you can hear everything they're saying for $174. So it doesn't matter what level. It doesn't matter last minute anymore. Game Time is going to help you with that. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms obviously apply, but again, create that account. Redeem that code, LOCKEDONCollege, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, let's seamlessly roll right in here to the next segment, and it's pretty simple, right? If you know the recipe for success has already been laid forth with the blueprint of the Kansas State game, the same is applicable to the other side of the field. And the defensive line, it may not have been super pretty sexy, but What is the D-line's job in a 3-3-5? It is to control this line of scrimmage in certain areas and gaps to allow the guys behind them to have better fields of vision and better abilities to diagnose, read, and react. You can't diagnose, read, and react if it's all muddy, ugly, and nasty in there, AKA if the offensive line is moving you where they want you to go, then it muddies up the water for the linebackers and the safeties. But if you go back and you see what Justin Kirkland, Colin Clay, these guys were able to do against Kansas State, it was dominate the area of operation that was necessary to allow the back guys to see and explode. Point blank, period. So just like the other side of the ball, when/if our offensive line controls enough, the same can be said on the other side. And you don't need a defensive line. Like in a 4-down defensive lineman set, you need quarterback hurries, you need pressure, you need sacks, you need all that stuff. In this scheme, you don't necessarily need all that. What you need is guys that are built like brick, you-know-what houses to move and control space for operational capabilities in the back end. And again, this is partially why you get to see Trey Rucker have a much better game than previously in the season. He's able to see, read, diagnose, and explode much, much quicker when those guys are dominating. Anthony Goodlow had a phenomenal game. Did he have a single big-time sack, tackle for loss, fumble recovery, forced fumble? No, he didn't need to either, because he would make double teams have to happen. He would force the other team to take away from the numbers side of their advantages to help. And that's huge in this game because they have a lot of eye candy. And it's not just eye candy for the sake. Like, they'll put their fullbacks, tight ends way out there, and then they'll motion them back in. They'll have guys motion different ways to different sides of the field. So as soon as you diagnose who the Mike linebacker is, it's the weak side of the field, what's the strong side of the field, what side do they have the numerical advantage to? They switch it up on you. They make it difficult. So this is a game where read and react has to be on point. And then you also have the athleticism to match to cover everything up. We have that. And Cam Epps just proven that. Nicholas Martin has proven that. People can't just zero in on Colin Oliver and Kendall Daniels anymore. They've got to pay attention. Okay, this Cam Epps dude, let's see what he does well. Let's try to take it away. Okay, that's fine. If you take it away, then you allow more of the linebackers to see more, to be more involved. So if the D lineman just keeps it simple and dominates their AO, their area of operation, it allows the back end guys to see things a little bit easier without all the cloud, mud, crap involved. That has got to be part of the blueprint here. We knew our safeties were going to be the deepest position coming into the season. Athletically, we've seen that. Now, linebacker, other than Nick Martin, and obviously not having Justin Wright able to go for the rest of the season, that hurts. But from an athleticism standpoint, that's never been a question for Donovan Stevens or Jeff Robertson. Sideline to sideline has never been a question with those dudes, right? It's been about filling the right gaps, the right holes, and the right responsibilities to free up things for the other guys. So to be a defensive lineman in this system, it sucks that you can't be selfish. But at the same time, if you're not, you open things up for the guys behind you to make the reads and make the plays. You're not going to get a lot of crazy, wild, sexy stuff as a defensive lineman in a traditional 3-3-5. It ain't going to happen. But if you do more with your opportunities now, and then it allows the guys in the back to see, read, react, and cover up the holes in which the wide receivers are trying to exploit, that leads to more double pumps by the quarterback, more indecision. More indecision means more time in the pocket. More time in the pocket means you will have the ability to get those crazy, fun, sexy stats. But eat up space. Be the Justin Kirkland man brick crap house that he is. And we're okay. Because you got to respect what Nathan Latu is doing. You have to respect the speed, athleticism, versatility of a DeSean Brown. You cannot sleep on Kody Walterscheid. And you can't move Justin Kirkland and Colin Clay around like you want to without having double teams. This should be it's not a secret formula, but the formula. It all starts in the trenches. That doesn't change anything. But now we actually have on film of us winning down there on both sides of the ball, which we haven't had this season. So now that we've seen the blueprint, it took us way too long. We're almost halfway in the season, but we found it. Okay, cool, great. The buy-in doesn't have to just be in the ivory tower. The buy-in can be in the dudes next to you, in the coaches right next to you. That's fine. The buy-in can be the success of what a bowl game can provide, because everybody knows that extra chunk of practices, it's typically huge. If it's done right, that bowl prep practices, that's massive. It's like an extra spring. So there is always something to play for. And again, now when you look at some of the injuries that are happening, like you look at TCU, they were close. Now they've had enough injuries where they're in a real bad spot. Injuries piled up for UCF in a bad way. KU ran over, through, around, whatever they wanted to do with them. And the UCF's got talent. Look at their recruiting, right? They're getting up there, but they don't have it yet. KU proved that. Without Jalen Daniels, this is a different ball club. But let's make no mistake. Y'all know I love the quarterback development that we've had recently. But would Jason Bean start at quarterback for Oklahoma State? Yeah, he would. Right here, right now. So we got to control the small portions of the games that are controllable. One of those is kicker. If we get into another kicker battle, maybe, just maybe we got this. But is it going to be enough? Is it going to be enough? That's always a question that we have for football, games, life, whatever. Jace Medical should not be a question. It should not be a crapshoot, right? It should be the peace of mind that you need to relax and let life just evolve around you. Do not get caught unprepared. Don't get caught flat-footed in the back end, stuck in cover 1 when you should have been in cover 3 cloud. Don't let that happen to you. You need to be empowered to care for yourself and your family members during unexpected times. Jace handles everything from online evaluations to licensed pharmacy, medication delivered, and the ongoing consultation and care required to help you have the best you. Because yeah, I mean, you know my situation, and in my situation with having the prosthetic and the rehabs and still surgeries and all that fun jazz, the supply chain is an issue for me. Like, I've got to get this stuff. Some medications and stuff come online. Some of it I still got to go to physical therapy and pain management and all that crap. And it's so difficult having to get meds changed all the time because of supply chain shortages and natural disasters and travel and different things socioeconomically that are causing problems. Jace Medical helps you sort all that out, whether it's shortages, storms, pandemics, the reliance on China's food chain, crap fest, whatever it is. Jace Medical is here to help you have some more peace of mind. So go online, fill out a form, and then you're going to get the prescription and life-saving medications and everything right to your door. With the Jace case, it's going to give you the peace of mind that you're going to need instead of hoping that you have access to the medication in emergencies. Jace Medical makes sure that you do. So get $20 off on life-saving antibiotics today from Jace Medical by using my code LOCKED ON, one word, LOCKED ON, at checkout on JaceMedical.com. That is JASE medical.com. Don't get caught unprepared or flat-footed. Get that $20 off right now. JaceMedical.com. That is JASE medical.com. So the kicker game, it worked this time around against Kansas State. that was one of the few areas that we knew we likely had the advantage in. Now, when you look at KU's kicker, this last game, he had a duck, an ugly, ugly mug of a kick. Okay, he did have that. But all in all, this season, it's pretty close. We're number one in the Big 12 in kickoffs. They're number one in the Big 12 in field goals, followed right behind very closely by Oklahoma State. But our guy should have the advantage here. But KU's kicker has proven enough that it's not just enough. It's not just enough just because what we know they have offensively to bank on this type of battle. Right? KU is number one in the conference at third down conversion. Is that an exploitable area? There's so many underlying things, but much like KState, we're going to need a little bit more than just the admiration and love we have for Rock Chalk Jayhawk Nation. This is going to be fun to see what Bryan Nardo can do. Last week, his biggest test of the year, okay? Pass with flying colors. Now he has to do it again because this offense, with or without Jalen Daniels, is an absolute nightmare to prepare for. They just do so much offensively that it's difficult. And then again, the defense. They've got some NFL dudes that you're going to have to play chess to get the matchups you need in other areas of the field to win. We knew the flats and the deep flats and some big shots was going to be the ticket against K-State. KU might be a little bit different. You know, if you pick on Kobe Bryant too much, he's going to hurt you. But they have some holes to exploit. If the O-line can neutralize their D-line, we should be fine in exploiting those areas because we have the individual athletes to do just that. And then defensively, you don't have to be crazy D-line. You just have to do a job. But you have to do that job even better than you did last week because the eye candy around you is going to be crazy. So it's a lot more for these linebackers and safeties and everybody to diagnose and be able to shift off to the other guys and still make plays and still be in the right calls, right defense, right time. And Alan Bowman's just got to do a little bit more. Alan Crawdaddy Bowman looked pretty decent. I'm not throwing shade other than the backpedaling thing. That's the Crawdaddy shade he's earned. But, he can do more than enough. He can manage the game against this defense just by picking out those areas that we know they already have holes in. So that's all we're going to have for this one. I think that covers a decent amount, right? I will throw in a fun little Brett Yormark. Make sure you continue to carry that flag of badassery. All right. Because, man, we love it. The more the merrier. You want to bring in Washington State, we're down. You want to bring in Oregon State, we're down. You want to bring in Gonzaga, I think most of us are down. Because he struck while the iron was not even necessarily hot for the Big 12, and he did it right time, right way. Great job. So he wants to add more. And you look at the product that Oregon State, Washington State offer right now. I know you can't just do it off that small of a sample size, but I think we're in. I'm down for it. All righty, y'all. You know I love you. As always, God bless. Go Pokes, and thank you for tuning in to make this your first listen. Here on Locked On Oklahoma State, you could be anywhere. So happy you choose to be here. All righty. Later, taters.